Welcome to creating a level playing field for collaboration. How can we make a difference together in equity and mutuality instead of inviting people to participate in a project they do not own? In this series, we discover what works by sharing stories of lived experience from a diversity of wise guests, organizers, participants, facilitators, researchers of participatory projects. By sharing examples and insights, we want to contribute to co-creating a world that works for all. Today we welcome Laure Bruère-Dawson. Welcome, Laure, in our podcast series. We'll be very happy to hear more from you, and maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit more.
So hello everyone, hello Tony. My name is Laure Bruère-Dawson. I am a French facilitator. When I describe my activity to my friends, because they don't understand what I mean by facilitator, I say that I create safe spaces for conversations that matter to happen.
Okay, that's a beautiful description. We met in Istanbul at the World Open Space on Open Space, and you said yes to my invitation. And what triggered you to join? That you said, okay, I want to be part of this.
Well, first, I also find that storytelling is such a powerful way to create links between people. So I really liked your proposal. And the second reason why I wanted to be part of it is that with a few people I really love, we created a wonderful experience that I find very interesting to share with other people. So this is why I wanted to be with you.
Thank you. So now we are all very curious to hear your stories.
So the story I wanted to share is about an event that we called Conversation Forum. The Conversation Forum is an open space event, 3 days long open space. Each day is an open space in itself. The idea came to us late 2021. You know, we had gone through these awful months of COVID crisis. The lockdown had created long distance relationships. And we were really fed up with Zooms and Teams and all those technologies that were just arising. And we were lacking true and I would say flesh and blood relationships. And with a few mates, art of hosting mates, we decided to get rid of all that and dare proposing an event where people would reconnect physically. And we decided that it would take place at the beginning of 2022 because it was a good moment. We figured out it was a good moment to propose a space to people, inviting them to imagine, dream the year they would like to have. It was a specific year in France, not only because of the COVID everywhere in the world, but it was an election year. I must say that there is a lack of trust towards our official representatives, I must say, of every part. For us, it was important to give the possibility to people take the responsibility of the life they really wanted to have in this specific year.
Yeah, and not only distrusting politicians, but take your own responsibility. Okay.
Exactly.
So what happened?
So what happened? So it was a little bit audacious, I would say, because we found the right place to do it, but of course we had many constraints regarding the COVID. We had to find a place big enough to welcome a group of people, but not too big of a group, so that we were allowed to have this event to happen. We had to build a team because the three of us were not enough to facilitate the open space, the conversation forum. We didn't know if people would want to come, because it was, between two peaks of the COVID crisis. And we were expecting, how can I say that, interdiction, forbidding. We were expecting the forbidding of our event at any moment. So it was an investment. We really decided to do it. So we paid to book the room, and really, for us, the best situation would be that we had many people come, and we had a possibility of welcoming 60 people. And if we had nobody come, we decided that we would have a great party with the three of us and our friends and families. And so the result was good, whatever would happen. But we really had this, letting go possibility that it could be a flop. At the end of the day, I think that we couldn't dream of a better event. People were there, present, probably like us, lacking so much true relationships, and that they were all here, and we had a great event. And at the end of the day, it was such a success that we decided to redo it every beginning of the next years. So January 2025 will be our 4th edition.
Oh, and how many people showed up?
So it improved each year. So the first year we were about 60, and the years after we were around 90, 100 people.
Okay.
In fact, it was a good thing that we had to restrain the number of participants. The first year, our first thought was that it would be great if we were 150, for example. But being kind of obliged to be only 60 made us realize how great it was not to be 150, but only 60, because people could really connect to each other. We had time. We had space for powerful conversations during the slots of the open space, but as well, in the small moments between two slots, at lunchtime, in the evening. So it was not only kind of a formal open space, it was really a human experience. Being only 60 gave us the possibility of a strong connection to each other. And so the years after, we decided to enlarge a little bit the amount of possible participants, but not go too far, in order to respect this former spirit of the event that is really about connecting to each other.
Yeah, and how did you invite the participants?
Well, the first year was really inviting people, by phone, Zoom, and email sent, and LinkedIn a little bit, to make people be aware of what would happen in our initiative. And the participants were, most of them, members of our facilitators or coaching communities, as I am coach, and my business partners are as well. So the first edition was really an edition for the ones of our kind. It really came very rapidly to us that we wanted this event to be more diverse, to welcome more diverse populations. And so year after year, we did two things. We did one thing, I must say. First one is just, changing the facilitating team. So each year we invite new facilitators to facilitate with us the event. So some of us say, okay, I pass my turn. But we have new faces, new facilitators. So that's a way to bring diversity in the facilitating team. Thanks to this, we enlarge the the size of our network, and we go and send the invitation into new areas. But to tell you, the first year we had probably 2 people coming from a company, I mean a traditional organization, who were not from our coaching and facilitating business area. The next year we had maybe 7 or 8 of them, and we had a class of pupils coming from a school for atypical children who came, and it was such pleasure to have them with us. That really encouraged us to do that more and more year after year.
I'm curious, what in my experience, having young people really helps getting different views. You say you were very happy with that class. Can you say a little bit more about what happened? What did they do that made a difference?
Well, so there were 10 of them. They came with two adults from their school. As I told you, they are children with what we say neurotypical.
Yeah, special needs. Yeah,
Special needs. Yes, they are very clever, but they behavior may be very disturbing. So it was important for us that they feel at ease with us. And we had prepared, of course, their venue with their the adults that would come with them, and we really welcomed them. So they felt kind of special guests, kind of VIPs in our event, which was really the case. But they had been told the rules of the open space. They knew what would happen, and they were here because they chose to respect the rules and to be participant as any other participants. And we had great conversations with them. They were so happy to be with them that they come each year since by.
nice.
The first year I remember that they took part of conversations mostly, when last year they proposed conversations, subjects of conversations. And it was really, really, really impressive how the link they created with us, how kind of serious they were, how what they went away with, because at the end of the day, we had a beautiful session of giving back, and they shared with us what they learned, and we were so surprised when them first sharing was that they are not used to be listened to by adults. And so for us, it was a good learning, very important learning. And because we thought that young pupils, very young adults, would not be interested in sharing with kind of old facilitators. But in fact, it was a really, really powerful moment for us. And it gave us the energy to each year try to bring more and more diversity, and especially attract younger people. It's really cool because they really are challenging us. Well, we had this team of pupils coming from these specific tools, but each year we have children and young adults. For example, my daughter came last year. The daughter of one of the other facilitator came as well. We had a little girl the first year. She was 9. And she proposed a conversation. The subject was how to be happy in 2022.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
And then the pupils, the class in the first year, what was their age?
Their age, they're between 12 and 15, I guess.
Okay.
So it's really college time for regarding the French school system. Yes, 12 to 15. And they came back. Last year, I had a conversation where there was this 13-year-old pupil, and he proposed a conversation around cats. And so everybody, split in the different conversations areas. And at some point, we saw him came in the big room where we had 4 or 5 conversations, and he was coming to the different slots and saying, I am alone in my room. Is anybody interested in speaking about cats? So a few of us said, okay, let's go. So we went with him, in his room, and we had these great conversations around cats. And he was just leading very naturally the conversation. And I was impressed by the way he took notes. The harvest of his conversation was absolutely amazing. He was creating, kind of structuring the harvesting of the conversation with habits, fooding, behaviors. He was just structuring the harvest, listening to what people were bringing into the conversation, and was really amazed. And we were also so really impressed by how clever this little boy and how audacious he was to overcome his natural timidity, boldness, and succeeded in making us have such a great time with him. Really, it's a very nice souvenir.
It's a great example of what you described as your role, creating spaces for conversations that matter.
Exactly. And it's interesting to see the subject that these young people bring to the conversations. This little girl, she was 9-year-old. So I told you, she said, how can I be happy in 2022? Great subjects. But for example, we had last year 2 other very young teenage girls, around 12. One had school harassment, a question around school harassment. How can I defend myself? How can I take care of myself at school when I'm being harassed? Very, very serious conversation that happened. And I remember that the adults, after this conversation, who really needed some time to breathe and to realign after this so full of emotion conversation. And we had news from her mom, because she's part of our community, practice community. And she said how helpful it had been for her, because the advice that came out of the conversation, she took them for her and she put them into action. And she really kind of find her way to, be actress of her life again. So really, this is this is a great souvenir of the event, of the conversation forum.
Every year, the main topic is what do you want for this next year? Am I right?
Yes, more or less. Well, we changed the way it is written. So the calling question for January 2025 will be, if we shared the topics we really care about, what might we discover?
It's a great example. I think it will work in every country, maybe every organization too. It's a very beautiful, almost say, concept or format, or what do you call it? Is it copied already by other communities in France, or?
Yes, we facilitate the first extraction, how can I say, of this event in Le Mans, 6th and 7th of December. And another one is being programmed at probably spring 2025. I kind of formalized a presentation of the event and proposed it to some clients where we thought it would be very helpful to bring innovation, especially in the diversity and inclusiveness programs, or how to become more innovative, or how to create engagement in our company, etc., etc. It's a beautiful format. So yes, we really would like to expand the model within organizations, because when we measure the effect on people, the quality of the relationship that is created at the end of the day, the souvenir people keep in their minds, because, you know, as we meet in other events, other situations, people who have lived the conversation forum speak about it, and we share, do you remember that, do you remember that moment, do you remember this conversation? The subjects that are proposed are so different. For example, last year we had, do we have to forbid video games to teenagers? We had a question that was, how can I do with the madness of someone I love? We had, how can we create conversation forums somewhere else? You know, so people really come with many kind of topics. Some of them very concrete, some of them very spirituals. So you have for all kinds. I mean, you know, the magic of open space, Tony. I know that, but it's really magical. You know, it's really something incredible to live.
But what I take from your story, you started with the purpose of reconnecting people in the flesh and blood. And right now it's not COVID time anymore, but I think we need it more than ever to really reconnect. And what's important in life or in your work right now, and what do you want from next year? Really beautiful question. Well, what sticks with me is the line you cited from one of the pupils. It was really striking what you said for me. We as youngsters, we are not used to have adults listening to us. And I think that's the very basic problem in all youth care, health care, whatever. We are not used to listen to. I speak for myself. Often as professionals, we are not used to listen to young people. How come? And I think this is a great way to contribute to listening more.
I think that we are not invited to. I think that all of us would love to go into schools, create this kind of environments, helping adults and young pupils, teenagers, or young adults to have conversations that matter. Because what is magical with the open space is that when you create the right conditions, people really go below the surface. And it is absolutely incredible what comes up when such conversations happen, you know. Young adults or children really are surprised that adults can listen to them. And yes, you're right. I mean, when they share this, you feel how terrible, how sad it is that they feel not being listened to at school or in their lives. Okay, so this really was a strong learning for us, but as well for adults, the power of being listened by young adults is very powerful as well. And it tells a lot, I think, about the kind of fracture that exists between the generations. And when you say that it should be everywhere, this is really the purpose of my life, and then the purpose of the people I work with, kind of building bridges among young adults, people from communities, women, men, senior people, and other generations, people from communities, colored people, white people. You know, we had this discussion yesterday with two people I really love. We had this discussion saying that we were noticing that the world is really polarizing, and you can't be in the middle. You can't just want to have normal relationships with normal people. You know, you always have to be on one side of the scale. And really, we don't understand that, because when we see the world, how it goes, we really feel we need to remain connected. And the conversation forum is really for us a way to connect, whatever we are, wherever we come from, whatever our color is, our age, our education, etc., etc. And that's what we leave in the forum, in the conversation forum. Really, people get rid of all this, and they're just here for the others, and they just contribute to conversations that matter for others. And we had some, for example, I remember a feedback, I would say giving back, because it was really present, of a woman who said, I felt the power of contributing to something that is not for me, you know, just being at the service of someone else. It was so powerful for me. So when at the end of the day, you receive this kind of presence, you really feel good. You really feel, well, it was a good idea we had. It was a good initiative, and it was our good place.
And it's possible.
And it's possible. And I would say that we just launched kind of strong action of communication on the social medias for the 2025 edition. And we see how quickly it goes for people, because people are expecting the event now. And we must be careful who we inform first, to make sure that we will be able to attract new kind of people want to reserve their place in advance. And there is something I didn't tell you so far, is that we organize different kind of conversations in the evenings. We invite filmmakers, documentary filmmakers, storytellers, writers, or inspiring people. And we organize, for example, a vision of an extract of the documentary or film, and then a conversation around what has been seen, and people share and have another powerful conversation around another topic. Most of the time it's around how the world goes. So it may concern the climate change, it may concern the engagement of people into causes that are very important to them. For example, the first year we had a projection of a film that is called Bigger Than Us, from a woman whose name is Laure Bruère. And the film is a documentary that follows 6 young adults that fight for a just cause around the world. Some of them fight to protect the environment, some others to help refugees, welcome refugees, and help them integrate in their place, etc., etc. And so it was a great moment for us to have this conversation. And the most beautiful story, I really must share that with you. It was the second year we saw a movie from an African man whose name is Kuma, and a filmmaker. And it was about women living in, I think it was in Senegal, in a place where the sea, you know, eats the coast. And these women witness the effect of climate change on their lives when they don't have any possibility to go away, because they're very, very, very poor. It's a very short and unprecise summary, but the beautiful thing is after that. It is that when we saw the movie, after the movie, one of our participants proposed to write letters, you know, to kind of propose a giving back, but in the form of letters. And these letters have been written by one hand, two hands, and they have been sent to these women. So a few months later, thanks to Kuma, they received the letters. And the year after, we received a letter from them. And together they wrote a letter to thank you back of the letters that they received. So it also tells how the conversation forum, or how this kind of moments are powerful to create relationships and create beauty very far from the event itself, far geographically speaking, but far timely speaking. And really, this is as well a great discovery of this event.
Okay, thank you. Very, very beautiful story. Is there, as a checkout, something that you would like to say? Maybe looking back on the podcast or on the events, or
Well, I realize I really must improve my English.
my English isn't perfect either. That's one of the choices I had to make, because language is in fact not creating a level playing field. But I don't speak any other languages well enough, except English, and not perfect, but doing okay, and Dutch. I had to make that choice. So
Thank you, Tony, to say that. The thing I think I would like to add is that this event is absolutely benevolent. I mean, people only contribute to the reservation, the price of the room.
okay.
You know, it's absolutely benevolent, and this is as well the beauty of the thing. And when speaking about speaking in English, I think that it would be a great idea to maybe export the conversation forum in another European country with a European group of facilitators. So if someone is interested, contact me, and maybe we can see what we can create together.
And is there maybe people who are interested, a website or a place where they can get an impression or more information about the event coming up? Or
No, not yet. I think that we will have to create a specific website. We haven't done it so far because it was really something, coming from the heart and kind of artisanal. But as we go, the need of such a place to tell the story of what it is about in French and in English is arising. We will think about it. Yes, I think it's important.
maybe you. It might be a good idea for me also to have 2 languages and have it translated, English, French, or English, whatever. Thank you for sharing your stories, Laure, and for being the guest in our podcast.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you for listening. A new episode will be posted every week with new exciting stories on how to create a level playing field for collaboration. I hope you will be back. Together we can make a difference in the world.